Greetings YouTube viewers, it is Sunday the 1st of August 2021 and we find ourselves today on Gorleston Seafront, Gorleston-On-Sea near Great Yarmouth, Norfolk on the east coast of England. Now this is the view overlooking the sea and the seafront here at Gorleston, but I just want to talk to you today about Marine Parade. Now Marine Parade is the main road that runs along the back of the seafront here at the top of the cliffs, and it contains really the biggest, sort of most expensive and most ambitious houses in Gorleston. Now I was brought up in Gorleston in the 1970s, and one of the things I used to like to do back in the day was to get on my bicycle. We lived in Avondale Road, which is just a little bit further along here. I used to get on my bicycle and ride along Marine Parade, which extends quite a long way down towards the end there, towards the Hopton end of Gorleston, and look at what I used to call the rich people's houses, which are all these rather big and imposing properties that run along the top of Gorleston Seafront. And I'm going to talk to you in a minute a little bit more about Marine Parade and what's been happening with it in recent years. So these are the large houses that are along the back of Marine Parade in Gorleston, and they run all the way down. I mean, big imposing properties, very sought after because just across the road here, it's a wide road. We have the beach area, the seafront, and ultimately a view out to sea. So a very sort of desirable area, and obviously over the years, I suppose the 1950s, 60s, 70s, possibly earlier, these rather lovely character properties have been developed. But at the moment there seems to be more of a fashion towards getting rid of some of these houses and replacing them with kind of contemporary living spaces, as they might be called, and where people feel necessary, they're demolishing the existing properties and then building something a little bit more contemporary and designed in a slightly different way to make more of the view across towards the sea, and I suppose to maximise the plots really, although some people would say that that's something of a shame. Now the house I want to talk about specifically in this video today for YouTube is this one that you can see in the distance here. This is the junction of Arnott Avenue and Marine Parade in Gorleston, and the property that we're looking at now is this green one on the bend here on the corner plot. Now this has variously been described as the Mint Mansion. Someone said that it used to be painted pink and they used to call it the Marshmallow House. Someone else said that they called it the Flintstone House because of the rock effect, the rocks that have been used in its design. Someone else said that it looks like a motel, and someone else talking on Facebook said they used to call it the Barbie and Ken House. But its real address is 60 Marine Parade. And you can probably see a sign in the garden there saying Aldred's estate agent sold. So this is 60 Marine Parade, and the reason I'm focusing on this property today is because it's it's really always been my favourite out of all of these character residences along Marine Parade. This has always been my favourite. There's just something about it I really like. Now, at the moment it's got the green paint on it, which I think looks lovely. But it's also got a whole kind of, I feel like an Art Deco vibe going on, with the veranda and the flat roof and the wrought iron sort of balustrades and things. This property has recently been sold, I think subject to contract, and it's summer 2021. It was priced I think at 675,000, so we're to assume that it's been sold for something like that. And there's been some press coverage about 60 Marine Parade recently because a developer is interested in demolishing it and replacing it on this quite extensive plot with two executive homes, I think 3-storey and 4 or 5 bedroom properties, which presumably will be a lot taller and we'll probably make more of the view out to sea, which is just across there, although actually some distance away. It seems to me a bit of a shame actually to get rid of a lovely character property like this, although I realise of course that quite an extensive plot on the corner here could be maximised, I suppose, with 2 new homes, but it's a question of how many homes along the seafront will be demolished at the end of the day. Now, when I put a post on Facebook about this, various people chimed in with what they thought to be the history of it. Apparently it was owned and designed, I think, originally by Ted and Olive Harrod, who ran a business in Gorleston called, I think, the Eastern Sack and Bag Company, and they presumably commissioned an architect to build it. Someone said that it was based on a design of a house in Jersey. Someone else said that it was a French Riviera style property, and then several people said that the stonework involved had been brought over from Jersey to replicate the property over there. So it's painted in this lovely minty green colour. It has a veranda at the top there, and I understand that the bedrooms all come out onto that veranda, so you come out and wake up to a sea view. But presumably over the years I suppose it's just become dated, and it's maybe not the sort of property that people want anymore, particularly for £675,000 on such a prime plot. But yeah, I think it's lovely. I'm just going to take you around the back. There's these very big hedges here. This is Arnott Avenue here. So we're going inland now from the seafront. It does stand on this quite extensive plot. I think if I owned it, I'd probably reconfigure it inside, maybe add a bit or two onto the back and the side. You can see it stands in quite a generous plot. It's just an unusual seaside property in a sort of semi-Art Deco style. And yeah, I suppose it will be bulldozed, and the purpose of this video really was so that in years to come, if it has been bulldozed, people can at least say, well, someone recorded it on video at the time. I'm just going to take you round here. This is Aldred's, sold. And this is a view of the back of 60 Marine Parade. So yeah, quite a nice little garden as well, and a summer house there. So yes, I personally, if I owned it, if I'd paid £675,000, I think I'd just redo it. But you can see that this plot probably has room for 2 executive homes, and that will be the future. It's just a question of whether or not all of the character homes along Marine Parade in Gorleston ultimately are demolished and replaced with contemporary living spaces. So 60 Marine Parade, as far as I know, was built in the 1950s, and back in the day that must have been such an amazing experience to have had an architect design a French Riviera style property and had it designed and built on Gorleston seafront, the height of luxury really. And I suppose nowadays building these large contemporary homes here in 2021 in Gorleston is much the same, but that somehow doesn't get away from the fact that it just seems such a shame to bulldoze the past and to lose a character house like this. So yes, maybe I should have got in earlier and spent £675,000 or whatever it was on this house and done something with it myself, but soon it may become a thing of the past, and that's something to regret, I think. Just going to take a walk along Marine Parade. This is a beautiful house here on the corner with lovely gardens, and up on the balcony I think actually a giant chess set. So that's the view out to sea that way. And then if I just take you along here, these are some of the older established properties in Gorleston, with respect to their owners, what I always used to call the rich people's houses. We lived in a house in Avondale Road, a terraced house. That certainly wasn't for the rich people, but a nice respectable road back in the day, and that was my home during the 1970s and early 80s. This one stood here for many years as well, with a kind of timber clad effect. Ocean mist. That one's been there certainly since my childhood. And the reason I'm taking you along here, well, there's some beautiful gardens, but I'm taking you along here because in a minute we're going to come to two of the newer houses, which is what I've kind of been talking about, which from memory I think have replaced large properties that were removed. So here we have what looks like a kind of 1930s to 50s Tudor-Beathen, as I always call it, Tudor-Beathen, Tudor-Elizabethan Neo style. Traditional bay-fronted character family home, and here we have, these are the new properties, and as you can see they make the most of these balconies, large glazed areas at the top, maximising the view out to sea. So this is what we're getting now along Marine Parade. Perfectly nice houses, I suppose. They're the Tudor-Beathen houses of 2021, and obviously fetching a high price now for a property like this, looking out to sea at Gorleston over the North Sea. Although I often think to myself, what is the view out to sea at Gorleston? Usually a sort of a cargo ship in the distance, or a rig support vessel in the distance. So there's another home here which is behind builders' hoardings. Now, without knowing enough about what's going on here, I don't know whether this house is being demolished or renovated, so I can't really pass judgment on that. But yeah, these are the modern houses now, which are becoming more and more popular along this road. So yes, it's a question of how many more of them will be built in the years to come. We shall see. Thank you for watching this YouTube video.